Thanks to all of you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Now I want to turn to Delaware Democratic Senator Chris Coons, who joins me. Thank you so much, Senator. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Let's just start where we left off on tax reform. Is there any room, do you think, for bipartisanship on this issue? I know this is an issue that Democrats care about. When you see the outlines of this tax reform plan coming together, do you think some Democrats can get behind it?
Absolutely. This is an example of an area where right from the election, there were many Democrats saying that we would like to find a way to work across the aisle, to work with President Trump. There's a number of other areas like infrastructure where we had early hopes that we might be able to work together. But if we look back at the health care process and outcome, that's got some important warnings here. We should be listening to Senator John McCain, who says the only way to do very hard, very complex things here in the Senate is in an open process, not by having 5 or 6 people craft a complex plan in secret and then roll it out and try and pass it with only one party's votes. If the health care process had been open and robust and bipartisan for the last 7 months, I think we'd be making progress. And given that the tax plan that's being rolled out today was crafted largely in secret and with no Democratic input, that's not very encouraging.
All right, Senator, let me shift now to the other big headline today. And of course, that is Roy Moore's victory overnight. Of course, he still has a ways to go before he actually gets to Washington. But is he someone you think you can work with? This is someone who said he believes that parts of the United States are under Sharia laws, that homosexual conduct should be illegal, that his personal belief still is that former President Obama was not born in the United States. What do you make of his win? And is he someone who you can work with?
Well, I have worked very hard to find some way to partner with Republicans and Democrats from a wide range of backgrounds and views. So I will give Roy Moore, if he's elected, the benefit of the doubt. But all those statements that you just repeated are gravely concerning, even alarming. Hopefully he will come to the Senate with an attitude that changes, and he will show that he's interested in constructive legislation. But if he's simply a bomb thrower, someone who comes here determined to shake things up and to make things difficult for Mitch McConnell, he will be able to do so, and it will be an even harder road ahead for the Republican majority as they try to legislate and to govern.
Senator, as you know, former Vice President Joe Biden is poised to campaign for Doug Jones, who's going to be facing off against Roy Moore. How much effort and energy should Democrats put into this race, and to what extent are you concerned that Democrats still haven't found a message that they're still the anti-Trump party right now?
Well, Doug Jones is a great candidate. He's a former U.S. attorney. He's a prosecutor. He's someone who has stood up for justice in a state where that makes a real statement. And it's my hope that the contrast between Doug Jones as a candidate and Judge Moore will be clear. And I can't think of anyone to be a better person to deliver Democrats' message to the middle class folks, the voters of Alabama, than Vice President Joe Biden. The special election is on December 12th. There's going to be a very small turnout. And look, you know, I'm someone who got into a race for the U.S. Senate against Republican Congressman, former Governor Mike Castle, and I ended up facing Christine O'Donnell. In elections where the primary produces an unexpected result, who knows what might happen and in which states Democrats might be successful in 2018 because of unexpected upsets in Republican primaries.
And it's a really important point. And when you talk about unexpected races, we have seen so many unexpected outcomes. There seems to be a real mood for outsiders right now, and it comes against this backdrop of Senator Corker announcing that he's retiring. What does it say about the state of the Senate and about voters right now and what they're looking for? Is everyone in Washington just getting it wrong, I guess is my question to you.
Well, Kristen, I was surprised and disappointed by Chairman Corker's resignation announcement last night. He's a conservative Republican. We disagree on a number of important policy matters. But on the Foreign Relations Committee, he's been a good chairman and a good legislative partner.
Do you
We've
worry
introduced
it hurts
and moved forward.
bipartisanship on your committee? Do you worry it actually hurts bipartisanship on your committee?
Yes, because Senator Corker has worked very hard to find ways to work together. Despite our disagreements on a number of areas, he and I believe we've moved 5 bills from introduction to becoming law in recent years. We've traveled together. We've worked together. Ben Cardin, the ranking Democrat on the committee, has a respectful, constructive relationship with Chairman Corker, and these things take time to develop. So it's my hope that the next chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee in the next Congress, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, will also work as hard as Bob Corker has to find a way to put our country's interests first. But he is the sort of pragmatic legislator, someone who really wants to get things done, that I think our country wants more of. Look, when I go home to Delaware, what I hear from people when I'm going to the grocery store or after church or coming home from the train station, they say they want Republicans and Democrats to work together, to compromise, and to move things forward in the better interests of America.
And let me ask
the
you,
election
Senator,
of Roy Moore certainly suggests there's still a lot of states where folks are pulling in the opposite direction.
That's for sure. Let me ask you quickly about Mark Zuckerberg, these revelations about Facebook, thousands of ads purchased by Russians and used to try to meddle in the campaign. Does Mark Zuckerberg need to testify in an open hearing?
Yes, I think we need to hear from Mark Zuckerberg. We need to better understand both what Facebook knows about how to micro-target ads and what they know about Russian activity. We need to be preparing for the 2018 and 2020 elections and make sure we understand the really disruptive power of social media to move messages directly to the inboxes of Americans, to their social media feeds. We've got real restrictions on the ability of foreign powers to influence our elections in traditional media. The Russian government can't come and buy ads on Fox or MSNBC to try and push an election. But through Facebook, they may have accomplished exactly that goal. We need to better understand what's happened in the 2016 election and prepare ourselves for 2018 and 2020, because Vladimir Putin and his regime continue to interfere in elections across Europe, and he continues to have interests and objectives that are quite different from ours. We need to make sure that we're securing our future elections.
All right, Senator Chris Coons, we covered a lot of ground. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your perspective.
Sure.
And coming up, culture war. Why is the president continuing attacks on the NFL?